In this video, we're going to be checking out a portable power station that's coming to us from BLAVOR, a name that's been around in these portable power stations and power banks for a while. And BLAVOR reached out and asked if I would review their newest power station here. This is the PN-W43 portable power station, which is a DC powered, basically huge power bank. And that's what we're going to be checking out. So let's go ahead and open this thing up, see what comes inside. We're going to test out all the features and take a look at all the specs. So let's do it. Hey everybody, it's Chris from FamilyGeekery, and today we're going to be checking out this PN-W43. This is a portable power station from BLAVOR, and BLAVOR sent this to me to review. Of course, as always, this review is mine and mine only. They don't get to see the video before I publish it, and no money is exchanged hands. And this is the first time I've seen this out of the box. When they sent me the offer to collaborate, they didn't have any product information online yet, just some specs. They didn't have any pictures or anything. And then when I got the box in the mail, this is all I could see. And I kind of knew what it was, a portable power station, meant for camping or something. But this picture right here looks kind of bland, and this is actually a really nice looking power station. So I couldn't tell from the picture that this was actually a light inside. I thought it was going to like pop up out of the top like some of the other ones do. So obviously this is a DC powered portable power station intended for camping or emergency backup power. And we're going to be going through all the features, testing everything out, and seeing how good it is. But first and foremost, let's see what comes with it. Of course, we got the power station itself. It came with a nice braided lanyard, kind of like some paracord. Black and orange matches the device itself, and that's going to clip onto the top here. It came with the USB-C to USB-C cable, and then of course the instruction guide here. But let's take a quick look at the power station itself. Obviously we've got a big light here, we'll test that out. We've got a screen here probably to give us all the information we need to know about what we're charging and how much battery life we have. Got a couple buttons here to control everything, and then looks like underneath this little rubber door here, we've got our ports. So we've got two USB-C ports, two USB-A ports. And this device, the way it's manufactured, it's dust-proof and shock-proof, and it's also IP67 water resistant. So having these little rubber door here to cover up the ports, that's nice. Keep those ports nice and clean when you're not using them. And then up top here, we're going to have a wireless charger also. So that's a nice little touch. You can charge 5 things at a time between the 4 ports in the front here and your device on the top. And of course we've got the light. As we rotate this thing around, not much to see anywhere. We got a label on the back here with all of our specs. That's nice. And yeah, just a nice clean unit. So let's go ahead and get this thing turned on and check it out. Alright, so this thing came to us mostly charged, looks like 97%. So I'm going to go ahead and plug a couple things in here to get it to start draining it down so we can test the charging also. And I'll go ahead and have these things plugged in while I talk through some of the specs. So let's go ahead and plug in this Anker Solix here to C1. And this is a bidirectional port. And this is a bidirectional port, so I hope this is going to start charging that since this is down to 1%. Alright, so I couldn't get this thing to charge that Anker Solix, and I'm not sure why, but I went ahead in the meantime and plugged in the included cable here to this MacBook Pro. And this MacBook Pro is completely dead, so it's not even woken up yet. So we're going to see these numbers jump around a lot, but it looks like it's drawing out 20 volts at about a half an amp, about 14 watts or so, bouncing around. So once that wakes up, we'll go ahead and open up this MacBook and see what it discovers this charger as being. But we've basically got these two USB-C ports here. USB-C 1 is supposedly power delivery 100 watts, and then USB-C is 65 watts. So combined, it should be able to output 165 watts total. And then for charging in, which we will test once we get this thing drained down a little bit more, it should be the same also, 100 watts coming in on C1 and 65 watts coming in on C2. So 165 watts total. As for the USB-As, if they're used by themselves, then they are capable of 5 volts at 3 amps, 9 volts at 2 amps, or 12 volts at 1.5 amps. So basically 15 to 18 watts output. And then the wireless output on top here is 5 watts, 7.5 watts, 10 watts, or 15 watts, depending on what your device is capable of. Now, once you start using all the ports together, then obviously they start scaling down so that you don't draw more than 165 watts total. And while we're drawing this battery down, let's go ahead and test out the light here. So if we just push this button once, we get a nice warm glow, kind of an orangish glow instead of a white LED. And we hit it again, it gets a little bit brighter. And then one more setting for the brightest, so 3 different settings. and then back off again. This button on the far right here, this is to turn on and off the wireless charging. So let's go ahead and turn that on. And we see a little icon come here that shows that it's active. And I can throw my phone on top there and double check. And yep, you can't see it, but I can see the screen here. It says that it's charging. Alright, so I found the perfect combination of things to test out to get this thing to output its fullest. So if we look on the screen here, it's constantly cycling back and forth between C1 and C2. And if it has an up arrow, that means that it's sending power out. If it's got a down arrow, it means it's bringing power in, I guess charging. So as we look at C1, we have C1 connected to this little power bank here, which is charging at, it says 89.5 watts. And as this cycles around, it says it's putting out 93 watts, so 20.4 volts at 4.5 amps. So we are getting basically 100 watts coming out of C1. Now at the same time, I've got C2 going over to this MacBook Pro, and I went into the system report, and it tells me what kind of charger I have plugged in, and you probably won't be able to read it, but right around there, it says that it's plugged into an AC charger that's capable of 65 watts. So that is a good test of both of these. Now, if we look at when it cycles back to C2 again, it says it is putting out 65 watts. So yeah, this thing is pulling the full amount of power it can. Of course, it was dead, so it is charging itself up. But one thing to note, when I had just the laptop plugged in by itself, and this was not plugged in, it was getting a full 100 watts going to here, and this was seeing it as a 100 watt charger. Now, I was basing that C1 and C2 being 100 watts and 65 watts based on the booklet here, but it looks like both the ports are capable of 100 watts. Just if you plug in more than one of them is going to scale down to 65, which is exactly what we got going on here. And it's handling it just fine. So I'm going to go ahead and let that continue to draw down a little bit. It's drawn down to 75%. I'm going to let it go down a little bit more, and then we'll go ahead and test out the charging of the device. Alright, so I was able to draw down the battery down to 67%, so I think it's time to start testing the charging. Now I've got the two cables plugged in here. I'm going to plug them both into my Anker desktop charger here, which is capable of charging out at 250 watts, so it should have no problem charging these up. So I'm going to just start with the first cable here, which is plugged into USB-C 1, and see what happens. Alright, and right away it's jumped right up to 99 watts. So it is outputting 99 watts. We've got, it says about 95 coming in. That sounds good to me. And we do have a timer here of how long it takes to recharge. It's saying about 58 minutes right now, which sounds right because we are about 68% full, and what we haven't talked about yet is what the total capacity is. One important spec for this thing, and it's 236.8 watt hours. So that's how much battery capacity you have in here. It is 16 amp hours at 14.8 volts. So 236 watt hours. That's a lot of battery for this. That's going to charge up your phone many, many times if you have a power outage or if you got this thing camping with you. So we are charging in at 100 watts. So let's go ahead and take this second cable here and plug it into the desktop charger. And it's going to renegotiate, and we've got a total of 161 watts coming out there. So as we look at the little ports here, which may be hard to read, but it's showing port 1 is putting out 99.9 watts. Port 2 is putting out 62 watts. So that's exactly what we were expecting to see, 100 watts on one port and 65 watts on the other. The screen is reporting about the same 95 watts on one port and 62.5 watts on the other. So now it's saying just 33 minutes to get this thing all the way full. So being able to charge in at 165 watts, if you have the right type of chargers with you, that's pretty impressive. Now if all you have is little phone chargers that have USB-C output that put out like 20 watts or something, then yeah, this thing will take a very long time to charge all the way up from empty. But as long as you have some kind of capable charging block, even if it's something like this guy here, which is a gallium nitride 65 watt, and they make these things that are 100 watts, not too expensive. I'll put some links down below. And you could plug two of these into the wall and get those charging in on two separate cables and charge your battery pack up pretty quick. Now, in addition to charging it up from the wall like we're doing right now, you could also charge it up from your car. Now, if you just have a regular USB-C port in your car, it's probably not going to be putting out much more than like 20 watts. And if you have a cigarette lighter plug adapter in your car, then it's probably going to be not much more than that either. but they do make USB-C power delivery cigarette lighter plugs that will do up to 100 watts. And if that's the case, then yes, you can get 100 watts in here, and it will take, they say, about 3 hours total to get the thing full from empty. And then the same thing if you have solar panels. If you've got a solar panel that has USB-C output, then you could use that as well to charge this up. Now, a lot of the times I've seen solar panels that have, let's say, a 100-watt solar panel that will output that on the DC side, using like MC4 connectors or something that would go to a regular solar generator. And then they may have, for convenience sakes, a USB-C charging output. And sometimes those are limited. Sometimes they're only like 40 watts or something. But just look at the specs on your solar panels and see what the USB-C output is. And that's the max that you will expect to see coming into this if you're using solar panels. So we've gone through all the specs and basically explained all the features. Let's go ahead and wrap this up with a summary. And I'm going to go ahead and let this continue to charge up as I kind of give you my final thoughts here. What we've got here is a well-built portable power station that delivers great amount of power out of these USB-C ports, 100 watts and 65 watts combined to 165 watts total with the same charging capacity. And then, of course, we've got wireless charging on the top. We've got USB-A's there, and then just any combination of all 5 together, charging a bunch of devices, whether you're out on your picnic table at a campsite, or you've got a power outage at home and you just need to have a little light happening in the house, charge up your devices so you can keep connected to the world. This thing's going to take care of that, no problem. A couple other nifty features, such as the included lanyard here that allow you to carry this thing around. And of course, just the rugged nature of having it shockproof and dustproof to allow you to bring it out on adventures and not worry about it. I think that's going to wrap it up for this review. I hope I explained all the features for you. I hope this was helpful to you. If it was, I appreciate a thumbs up. Go ahead and drop any questions you got down in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer them. Check out the rest of the channel for lots of other power stations and power banks and solar generator reviews. I will drop links to this and any kind of included accessories that I think would be essential down in the description below. But I think that's going to wrap it up for this video. I thank you as always for watching, and until next time, peace out and geek out.